So, my guy, we need a full description of Cottage Tech. Give us the background, give us the build up, how you got to that stage, and how the business is working. What is it about?
Well, I don't even know where to start, bruh. But this goes way back when we were still kids. We used to have something called home productions,
Home
small little
productions.
production company.
Home
That's where we
productions.
started.
Yes.
And within home productions, that's where Cottage Tech started. So remember when we were at your place, holidays,
Mm.
we used to chill in the cottage. That's where we used to do all our stuff. So that's where the name comes from, Cottage Tech. And also where it comes from is also the idea that you know how, especially in Zimbabwe and African community in general, most of the middle class to lower class people live in the cottages, right?
Mm.
There's the main house, that's where the owner of the property lives, and then there's the cottage.
Mm.
So with Cottage Tech, the vision is to make technology accessible to everyone, and specifically the people we're targeting are the middle class to the low class. So
Mm.
that's why it's called Cottage Tech. And also it comes back to where we started, Cottage in Newton,
Mm.
way back. So it's been a long story. And initially, when we started, it was just like a blog where we just wanted to share tech news with people, get people to know what's happening in the tech world. Because in Zimbabwe, people don't really prioritize knowing about tech. They just, whatever's going on, they don't really mind. They don't really care. They don't look about it. So we were just like, let's get that to the people. And then before we know it, let's not just give them information, but let's give them affordable technology. And that's how cottage tech, the modern cottage tech that selling phones, selling laptops, that's how it came to be.
For those who might not know TK personally, because I know him personally, he was always a guy who would tell me like, "Yo, there's this coming out. It's gonna have these features and this and that and da 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 and this and that." And when I say tech, it's a broad thing because it wasn't only gadgets, but it was also cars. You know what I mean? It was anything to do with technology. It was NASA stuff. It was everything. It was a broad thing. But I know that your passion and your
You name
love,
it.
yeah, comes from phones, laptops, and cars. That's where your passion
Tell
is.
them, bro.
It was so deep. Like we used to flip the magazine and be like, "Yo, but I'll get this. I'll get this." It's like, yeah, I'm gonna get the
I have a
Diablo.
collection of car magazines, popular mechanics. I have this big ass collection, and my mom was complaining, "You're taking up so much space. Whatever you do, if I'm naughty, if I'm what, I'm going to burn the collection." Once she says that, I go back in line.
It was a real love. I only started understanding engines from talking to you. And me and you used to sit there and watch Top Gear 6 hours, 7 hours. So that's
And you
where
remember, sister complaining that you guys are holding up the TV and watching Top Gear, and she couldn't watch anything else.
exactly. So I'm gonna put every single link to Cottage Tech down on this episode. If you guys want to get interested, if you're in Zim and you're trying to find, someone who you can genuinely trust and he's gonna give you the advice on what best to get, it's gonna be down in the links. Next question though. I need the top 5 phones of 2023. And I know you listen to MKBHD. I think that's his name, MKBHD. I just seen his
And
review
I've seen his video.
on the best phones of 2023. Some of them I liked. He obviously knows what's best because he's in business with all these top corporations. But that's more
Yep, yep.
based on a Western, point of view of using that gadget in that environment. There's a different point
Uh-huh.
and way of using that same gadget somewhere else in the world. So coming
Yeah,
from
it's a
you,
totally different story.
exactly, coming from you in Southern Africa or just in Africa in general, what are the top 5 phones for 2023?
Well, I would say the best all rounder definitely has to be the Galaxy A54. because it's that mid-range price, that people don't really spend a lot of money on phones this side.
Mm-hmm.
But when they do, we don't buy premium phones.
Mm-hmm.
But when we do, we buy a higher budget, a high mid-range phone. And the Galaxy A54 just happens to tick all the right boxes. I mean, battery, camera, the software is good, the screen, and most people this side don't even know what high refresh rate screens are.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one of the few like mainstream phones that's got that. And it's really got everything going for it. And we don't really game a lot. So that mid-range chipset doesn't really affect much. So that's like the all round. And then in terms of photography, I would definitely have to say the Galaxy S23 Plus. I know a lot of people say the iPhone 15 Pro Max, but I think the versatility of the camera lens on the Galaxy, especially that zoom lens though, it's wild, bro. It's wild.
Yeah.
And then in terms of the budget, which would be number three, I would definitely have to say is something called an itel S23 Plus. I don't know if people know about that, but this is a phone you can get for about $130.
Yeah.
And for $130, you're getting an OLED screen, you're getting 256 gigs of space, you're getting an in display fingerprint reader, you're getting a 6,000 milliamp battery,
Yeah.
all for about $130. And I think that's just wild. And
Value for money.
of course, there's some corners that they cut with the software, and everything is a bit jagged. But for that price, I don't think you can get anything with as much features as that.
Okay. Number four.
And then number four is I can't leave out the iPhone 15, bro. They really did a lot of work with that, like refinement. That 48 megapixel camera, it's been a long time coming. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they've been doing that 12 megapixel thing for a while, but the biggest addition to that phone is that
USB C.
USB C.
USB C.
That adds so many more features. And imagine, like, especially in Zimbabwe, going to people's houses, going to people's cars. The chance,
Mm-hmm.
if you have an iPhone, the chances of getting someone with the charger are very low, and that just it takes away that problem. So now
Mm-hmm.
you can just go your cousin, your whatever, even the poor cousins with the Android phones. Now you can use their chargers.
You know what's
That
crazy?
just
Let me tell you an interesting thing
uh-huh,
about that. So at work, we drive, uh, I would say from 2020 to 2023 Ford trucks. And in the Ford trucks, they have a Type C connection and they have a USB C connection. When I got the iPhone
uh-huh.
15 Pro, I went and I put the USB connection from USB to Type C. The phone wouldn't charge and it wouldn't pick up Apple CarPlay. When I took the USB C,
Really?
yeah, when I took the USB C to USB C cable, it would charge and it would connect to Apple Play. So that means there's more features you're actually gaining in terms of catching up with the technology of cars and where the rest of the world was going to actually enjoy those things. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. It's getting mainstream.
So I get that Apple was taking advantage of being exclusive, but you're losing some of those features because every other corporation and every other business is not going to create their own personal products to fit Apple. No,
Exactly.
they're going to do that.
Exactly. It's a whole different market. They have to design something else different just for that iPhone group.
Exactly. So now I think Apple was kind of forced to be like, yo, let's do what works for the masses and let's stop,
Mm.
acquiring for my slave queen Adawunyanyo piece.
They need to cater for everyone, bro.
Do it for everyone. And that was the biggest win
Then the
because
fifth one.
yo, they did that with the
Mhm.
with the AirPods, with the iPhone. I was like, thank you so much. Thank you. It made a huge difference.
And with USB-C, it's been a long time coming because I mean, I first had an iPad Pro like 3 years ago
Yeah.
with a USB-C. And the features that you got with that, I mean, you could add additional storage, you could connect like external microphones, and it was just a matter of time before they got that. Because even the MacBooks, the MacBook Air, the MacBook Pro, they're all on USB-C, right?
Yeah.
So it's just them coming into tune with everything else. I think the only thing that's left now will be the what's that? The AirPods Max.
Yes. I think it was only the AirPod Pros that got that change.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Mm-hmm.
the headphones is what's left. But you know what's weird? They call the headphones here like for us headphones is like what I'm wearing right now. But for them, they call the
Mm-hmm.
AirPods the headphones, and then they call the pros earphones. So I'm like, what?
That's weird.
So like I would
For
walk in and
me,
I'm like,
but so yeah, it doesn't make sense.
it doesn't make sense because like for me, head means like the whole thing. Like I would call these headphones, but no, here these are called earphones.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I can see
Mm-hmm.
the logic behind it because it covers your ears, but it's also covering your entire head. You get what I'm saying?
The entire head, which makes more sense,
Which
right?
makes no sense. So it's vice versa, but
Potato, potato,
potato,
potato,
yeah,
potato.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, what's number five
And
to
then the
close it up?
last
Yeah.
number five has to be the Redmi Note 13.
Ooh,
Because people are sleeping. I know you guys don't get those. You don't get many of these Chinese phones, but this side, the Chinese people are. They're all over the place. And remember how I talked about the A54 being like that perfect all rounder?
yeah,
The Redmi is slightly better than that at a much lower price, and you get a bit less of the premium features. So the camera will be less refined. The battery is much better. The software is okay, but Redmi doesn't do as many updates. I mean, Samsung has really been good on the updates because you get four major updates, which means you can use the A54 for 4 years. But with the Redmi Note, you probably get one or two. But besides that, you get a high refresh rate screen, you get a very good battery, you get a good camera, and you get most of those features at a fraction of the price. So you're looking at 320 to 350 for the A54, but with the Redmi Note 13, $200, $220, $230. And that's that sweet spot, especially in Zimbabwe. That's that sweet spot because if someone cares about their phone, they're spending $200. Otherwise, most people, $130, 150, that's the max. And they
yeah.
just want to call, do their WhatsApp, take a picture of their kids smiling, and
That's it.
they don't really mind about the quality. So that has to be my top five for this year.
Okay. How has the connectivity, the network improved? Because I know that we function off the bundle system back home, but there's been talks of Starlink coming in. Net One has been the monopoly, I would say, in the market for high end Wi Fi and connectivity. So, over the
Correct?
years, yeah, I would say in the last 5 years, what's the biggest improvement you've seen in terms of the quality and the consistency of the network in Zimbabwe?
I think over the years, there's been quite a lot of improvement. I mean, they did the introduction of 5G, but then most people don't realize that that introduction doesn't really affect most of us because most people, it's very few people that have a phone that's capable of that.
Mm,
And once you do, I think there's only like five locations. So you get Avondale, you get Vic Falls, and you get the airports, and a few other places, like four or five places. That's the only places where you can get 5G. But the greatest improvement that they've done is improving on the 4G network. Because before then, I think we would get speeds of like maybe 8, 10 Mbps. But now you can easily get anything between 18, 20, 25. That's the average. Even on like peak times, you can get that. And if it's later in the night, you can get 40 or 50 Mbps. So I think as far as that's concerned, they really did quite a lot of innovation and there's been improvement. And then one thing that I would also like to take note of is the fact that they've added eSIMs, even though it's just Econet. But eSIM is a major player because right now a lot of people are getting those iPhones, and you know Zimbabwe people usually have to use two SIMs.
Mm-hmm.
And a
Yeah.
two SIM iPhone with two physical SIMs is very rare to get. But one SIM and an eSIM, that's the usual. So that it means many of those people who are using these iPhones, especially the refurbished ones, they get to use that Econet and that Net one. So that's been a really, on Econet's part, that's been a really good move that they've done. And one of the things that I think they haven't done is like the prices for internet really haven't gone down. And that remains like the biggest constraint to most people because it's expensive. And even though we take it for granted, it's still surprising to note that some people say I only have a WhatsApp bundle. They don't have an internet bundle and all of that. So that has been, quite a quite a constraint. And then you talked about Starlink.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Starlink for us doesn't really change much because officially we don't have Starlink. And Potras, which is like the governing body for telecoms, is saying Starlink has brought in an application, but they haven't approved it. So officially, there's nothing. But I've heard there's some small companies that are tied to, some big people that are
Mm-hmm.
actually selling Starlink starter kits,
Mm-hmm.
and the price is like 1,000, even though that's nowhere near the price. It's like 1,000. And before you know, some people are even getting it from Zambia, and then they put it on roaming, and it's still cheaper than a Zoll. Because I think with Zoll, which is like the main fiber provider, a
Mm-hmm.
decent, okay, the cheapest unlimited package would be something like $140, $150, and you're only getting about 10 to 15 Mbps. And even if you get Starlink on roaming, it will still cost you only about $70. So some people who are seeing this, exploiting the system, getting the roaming kits, they're getting it much cheaper. And it's only a matter of time before someone, does it and everyone else does it. And before you know it, Starlink is all over. I think the only way people cannot get that is if they make it illegal. Like, wait, what's the country where they did that? Is it South Africa,
S-
where they're saying it's illegal to have one?
yes.
That's the only way. But
Ironically,
once
that's
people
where
find
he's
it,
from, actually. The place that he's from,
it
ironically. But
doesn't want it.
I think you said something important because I was speaking to someone who was saying they were using Starlink Wi Fi. The quality was amazing and everything. But they said that the installment fee, the initial fee to get the setup, the equipment, and everything was, I would say, 1,000. Of course, there's extra things in there, but let's put it at 1,000. And then you have a fee, a monthly fee of 100 and something dollars. The question now comes in to say how many people can afford the initial investment? Because I feel like for this thing to bloom and actually work, it's got to be for the masses. Even though a niche
Yeah, that's true.
market can support it, if the masses are functioning off a different system and then the niche is there, working on the small little market, how much of a difference is it really going to make? The same way we can also say for 5G to be fully effective, it needs to be 5G to 5G. So if I'm at the airport and I have 5G network, if I'm calling someone Arigu Shamfa or Mtari, they're going to be on 3G or 4G. They're not going to experience that
Mm-hmm.
whole interaction is not going to be 5G to 5G. So we don't get the real full experience of that network. It's actually going to come down to,
But
whatever network comes after that. So we're not really experiencing the full
it,
advantage of that.
but I think two things that Starlink has going. I think with you guys in the north, really don't care about this, but these two things matter, especially in the African market, and that's bandwidth and speed.
Yes.
So that $1,000 price, I think $1,000 price, it's really nothing because I think if many people are innovative, if they think enough, I mean, in my road, there's like 20 houses,
Yeah.
and 20 houses, divide that into a thousand, that's $50 a house. And even if we do share, you can share the connection
Yeah.
among those 20 houses,
Yeah.
and there's no bandwidth cap. And the speed, it's usually like what? It's a gigabit, right?
Giga.
Even
Yeah.
if you divide that, that means each house is getting theoretically 50 Mbps.
Yeah.
And divide that into the, let's say, $100 subscription fee. $100 and 20 into 100, that's $5 a household for unlimited Wi-Fi at speeds that Econet can only dream of. I mean, you do the math. $50, $5 a month. I mean, people are just not realizing the potential that they can, that they can exploit the system. But if you do that, and there's an unlimited number of devices that you can add onto that one network. So imagine it's only a matter of time before people put one and one together, and you see.
That's a great segue into my next question because you said people just don't realize this. What are your thoughts
Mhm.
on this new inauguration of the Minister of Finance? I mean, the Minister of Technology. We're not gonna name who it is, but are they doing the necessary work to inform the public about how to move forward with technology, provide the information, provide the resources, and are they bringing that technology agenda forward? Or you feel like it's someone who was appointed, but they're not matching the necessary standards to see the improvements that you need in that market? Where do you stand with this new appointee?
I think it's a bit too soon to judge her, but it's a her, and that's really an important point because this is the first time that we've had a woman, a young woman, being the minister of IT, and I feel like that's going to do a lot of things because, well, besides being a tech junkie, a tech nerd, I'm a social worker,
Mm,
and the issue of gender and access to technology, especially in Africa, is a very contentious point. Like a lot of women, a lot of children, especially those in middle to low income housing, they don't have access to technology. So I feel like that's a very great entry point for the new minister because she needs to bring a gender sensitive approach to IT. If she does that, I mean, just the possibilities are endless. Because imagine all those people, they're losing productivity on a technological point of view
mm-hmm,
because they're women, because they're children, because they're even young people. I mean, we all know how there are these old people, dinosaurs, in many companies that we know that don't want to retire. They don't bring innovation. They don't bring anything new to the table. But here we have a young minister of ICT. She's a woman. She has so much going on for her. And because of that, I feel like she has a very good platform to actually make significant change. I think the last time we had a young minister was when Nelson Chamisa was Minister of ICT during the National Government of Unity. And you
mm-hmm.
remember he brought in a lot of changes. You
Yes.
remember the first time that a SIM was cheaper than a phone? Before then, getting the SIM was the hard part. The
130
handset
something
wasn't the
dollars.
problem.
Yeah, it was.
In that,
Yeah, yeah,
and you
yeah,
needed proof of residence. You needed to show that you work. You needed some people sell 3 or 4 cars just to get a SIM. But
yeah.
Chamisa is the one that changed that. And he
Mm-hmm,
was a young minister. And he's the one who actually started scrapping the duty of IT products. And you see,
mm-hmm,
all those that he did, that's all only in the space of 5 years. So
mm-hmm.
imagine what she can do.
I
So I feel like let's give her time. She'll bring in change.
I definitely see the potential. And as much as I want to give credit to the work that was done, the sad part is that tech doesn't wait for
Mhm,
anyone. Tech is innovative. You either keep
mhm,
up or you get left behind. You get what I'm
mhm,
saying?
mhm.
So
Fantastic.
this whole transition that we went from of saying that a SIM card used to be this and used to be that and used to be that was a natural thing that was progressing over time in terms of the global market. Yes, there was a lot of work done. Yes, there's a lot of credit to be given. But in terms of where we stand now, is this person that we have someone who can keep up with the global market? And, there's a lot of things. Like, I'll give you one good example, like Apple Pay. Some people will argue and
Mm-hmm.
say we don't want to go digital. We still appreciate having cash in our hands. But there's also a lot of freedom and a lot of things that come with you experiencing Apple Pay. Now, I understand that there
Mm-hmm.
might be a few places that can use Apple Pay. I haven't been home in a while. But if you don't keep up with that
Mm-hmm.
certain level of technology, it's a whole different lifestyle that human beings are having to live to. So we need someone there who understands that, look, yes, whatever it is that I'm doing is good enough, but we need you to be great. We need you to
Yeah, we need
shift
someone like
things.
me.
Yes, we need TK in the office.
I definitely hear you.
You get what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying, but
Yeah.
you also need to understand that people, if you're working in Zimbabwe and you're the minister of IT, you can't really participate on the global level because you have other obstacles that people on the global level don't have. There are
Yes.
things like sanctions. There's things like, I mean, there are a whole myriad of different obstacles that they have. So what we can only do is give them credit for the current environment that they have, because most of these obstacles are things beyond their control, and all they have to do is work in the current environment. So I don't know how they're going to deal with those obstacles. But yeah, I definitely hear what you're saying, that they need to keep up with everyone else, because if you don't keep up, you're always going to be trying to catch up and you'll always be behind.
You hit the nail on the coffin because, from my understanding, if we look at sanctions and the global technology market, artists have YouTube pages, but because of sanctions, they cannot
Mm-hmm,
monetize these YouTube pages and generate money from them. You need someone who's overseas or who is outside
mm-hmm.
to monetize your page, and then you can start making money. So I would expect my own IT minister to go to the foreign masses and say, look, we have a lot of potential out here. This is more money that you can make. Yes, we know that we have sanctions and we
Exactly.
have this and that, but for the benefit of you, the global market, and for everyone else, and for the artistry of the people here, can you allow us to monetize and do what we have to do? I was listening to Madam Boss who was saying, I lost my Facebook page because I trusted someone in Angarko UK to open that page for me. And then those people made money and they did this, and that. And then I lost access to my own account. This is happening every single
Because that
day.
was the only way she could make money from
That
it.
was the only way she could
Hmm.
make money from it. So these are the things that I'm looking at this new minister and I'm saying, are you the person to solve these problems? Because everyone wants to walk into office and say, look, I'm going to do whatever I have to do. But are you actually addressing the real problems that are really happening in the tech world? Are you that person to cause
Hmm.
change? Because when we look at Chamiza, I'm giving him credit because he solved a problem that was being solved globally. And if this new minister
Exactly.
doesn't solve this new problem, the rest of the world is going to monetize their pages and they're moving forward. They don't have the same problem. You do, and your people
And
do.
Zimbabwean artists are going to lose money and pages to people outside.
Exactly. So these are the problems that people care about and they need to be fixed because this is what, keeping them alive. This is their form of survival every single day. So we need someone who can
Hmm.
really solve these problems in the tech world. You get what I'm saying?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And they need to embrace mainstream technology because that's where it's at.
Yeah.
You know.
That's what it comes down to. But that's tech. So we'll give them time. Like you said, she's new, hasn't been that long, less than a year. We'll see where she goes. Hopefully, when a year or two reaches, this is going to be something we're going to be talking about This is something want to keep going. I hope that it's a really bright future and some of these problems will be solved. What is your
That's
top
true.
five cars of 2023?
Ooh, that one. Okay, that's a really good one. That's a really good one. I would have to say that Ford Ranger Raptor, bro. That's just that's just something else. It's just
Yeah,
something.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
It's on point.
I'm
It's
with you.
on point.
I'm with you.
And
Cause
then next to that,
it's so rare to see
mhm,
that car out here. But when I saw it, I was like,
I mean,
man,
it's something else, right?
it looks like a
I mean,
beast.
it's as close as we can get to an F-150 Raptor in Africa, right?
It's a
It's almost
beast.
as good as the real deal.
Yeah,
It's a beast.
it's a beast. That's the easiest way to say it.
It's just something else.
It's a monster. Yeah, and it sounds
You can't really
crazy.
say much besides that, and
Yeah,
it sounds crazy. It goes off road, and it just does everything you need to do,
yeah, yeah,
and it's just that.
yeah. I'm with you
And
there.
then next, I would have to say the Tesla Model S Plaid Track Pack.
So you're telling me that you're putting the Model 3 over the Cybertruck?
Is the Model S? No. It's the Model S Track Pack. I
You're
mean, I'm also considering things like a car that I would get in this country and actually get to use. I mean, Cybertruck is a good car,
off-roading.
but I
You can go
really
anywhere.
off road. You can go anyway, but I wouldn't put it in my top five because they were a bit off the mark. Because firstly, the range was less than they promised, the price was more than they promised, and I mean, we've been waiting 4 years for this thing, man. I mean, it's a good thing, but I mean, who waits 4 years for a car? I think it's the same fate that the Roadster is going to suffer. I mean, the Tesla Roadster has been going for how many years now? And we're still waiting.
That's true. That's true. Okay, I'm gonna let you
You
finish
see,
your
so
top
that's
five and then we can discuss the top five. I'm gonna let you finish your top five and we'll talk about
okay.
it. Okay.
And then number three would have to be a touring car, a
Okay.
GT,
Okay.
Aston Martin 212. That is
Yeah.
that is just. I mean, GT cars are not really popular, but this one just brought everything back to the drawing board, and they just redid everything. I mean, this is as good as the first DB11 that came out, or the
Mm-hmm.
Aston Martin Vanquish, the one that what's his name, James Bond used to
James
drive back
Bond,
in the early 2000s. This
007.
just brings back that
Mm-hmm.
luxury, all of that in one, and it's just
The sound.
luxury
The
all the way.
sound. Mm-hmm.
The, the sound, exactly. And then number four, we would have to. Ooh, this is a tough one, but I would have to pick. There's some Chinese brand that's been selling cars here, and these cars
Mdara msatauri
they look
tata mdara.
almost like no
Msatauri
no no
tata
no no
mdara.
no 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 no. There's it's not a Tata. It's not a Tata. They're called GWM. That's the name, and
GWM.
they've been selling cars here. I think you can look them up. And there's something called is it a Speed? I mean, this car looks like a Lamborghini Urus, and it goes for like 40 grand.
What?
I don't know the name. I don't know if you can look it up.
I gotta look it
You
up.
gotta look it up.
Let me look it up. Let me look it up. You say GWM?
GWM, and then it's a crossover.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll definitely see it.
This is crazy. Okay, I see what you're talking about. GWM Haval.
Oh, wow, exactly.
Haval. GWMFR. This is my first
There's
time
that
ever
one with
seeing
the
this.
fire.
It looks good,
There's one with the
actually.
five in the name. It's a really good car. And the good thing about like in Zimbabwe, that car is being marketed by Zimoko.
What?
Zimoko is the one that's marketing that. And
That's
because of that,
crazy.
you're getting quality, getting good care. And I mean, at that price, I mean, you can look mega rich, even though you're not.
Is it electric? It looks electric.
The one I saw was a hybrid, a plug-in
Okay.
hybrid.
Okay. Yeah, this looks good. This looks good. Okay.
It's a really good car. And you see the price?
Very affordable.
You see, so that's going in my top 10.
What's
And then
your closer?
my closer is a car that a lot of people probably don't like, and I've heard issues about like the reliability and all of that. But I mean, you can't have a garage without a Range Rover, bro. That new Range Rover is just something else.
Shout out Holy
I
10.
remember seeing it when we Oh yo! I
Oyo.
remember when Wicklow bought
Oyo.
one for his wife, and we were seeing it on the socials. I mean, the socials don't do justice
No, 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 no,
to
no.
seeing it in person.
No.
I mean, a Range Rover just has so much presence. There are those people who maybe you're like, "Magamia pa passport office," and then that one person just comes in and says, "Hey, Americ, I don't think a suit," and you're all forced to look at that person and respect them because they're wearing a suit. That's a Range Rover. That's what it does in cars.
Bro,
It demands that you feel its presence.
I remember in 2019 when I first came to Alberta and I was
Mm-hmm.
working door to door and we were going at these mansions. I pulled up to this mansion, bro,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the Valar. It was parked there. This car looked so dope. I didn't even realize it was a Range Rover. I was like, yo, what car is this, bro? The grill and all that. Of course, it said Range, but it didn't even
Interesting.
register, bro, because I seen it from far and I couldn't like read. I was like, yo, what kind of car is this? I pulled up to it and I was like, yo, this is the Valar. I looked inside, bro. Man, that's when I understood. I was like, Range is different. Range is different.
I mean, it's cars could talk. You just turn around and that Ranger will be like, "Yeah, I'm talking to you." You know, it's just
Yeah, that's luxury at its
it's a
best.
luxury.
Yeah, it's luxury at its best. Okay,
So that's my top five.
so we're going Raptor, Model 3, S Plaid,
No,
um,
Model S.
Model
Yeah.
S, sorry, Model
Uh-huh.
S, and then we have the GWM
About
Aval, and then we have the,
mm-hmm.
what was number 4?
The Aston Martin DB12.
Yo, yes, that's the one I wanted to talk about. Wow, how do you feel about V10s going out of production? Because,
I
yeah,
mean, it's sad. I
it
mean, it's
is.
sad because what's a car? What's a car without the soul, man? I mean, hearing those straight pipes,
Yeah,
that rev. But at the same time, we need to consider the environment and the impact that they have had.
yeah,
I mean, it's people don't really talk about climate change that often, but the more you see the way these disasters are happening more and more often, the more it should bring you back to reality and the more it conscientizes people that, I mean, climate change is a real deal, man. And if we don't take it seriously sooner rather than later, we're going to suffer I mean, we're already suffering the consequences,
yeah,
but there needs to be action. I mean, it's with a car. I mean, you can always put in like extra sounds, but it's about the driving experience. And if you see cars like that Rivian, cars like that Lucid Air, cars like that Model S Plaid, those are all electric cars, but the driving experience is just
my
even the
guy.
Rimac Nevera. Those are all cars that drive like crazy, bro, and they're electric, so you can get the same experience while being friendly to the environment. So I feel like it's a necessary change. I mean, we'll see them in museums and things like that. And it's really sad, but there's not much we can do, you know. It's the least we can do because I feel like cars really emit quite a lot. I mean, talk about the Dodge Charger,
Mm,
those V8s,
mm,
fuel, the emissions. I
mm.
mean, you guys in the north, you should know about big cars and big engines, right?
You know what's crazy? I was just waiting to tell you. I just got a car,
Mm-hmm.
2023. It's a hybrid, but the
Mm-hmm.
hybrid is more like 60-40. 60% electric, 40% gas.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went to go pick it up,
It's a plug-in.
you can plug it in if you want, but you don't have to. You can just leave it. The crazy thing about the
Okay.
electric is the electric charges it itself when you're driving. So if you're going downhill and you're not stepping on gas, or every time you're braking, that automatically charges the battery itself. Or when you're accelerating,
That's regenerative braking.
it's
Uh,
regenerating the energy. So when I started driving, you can actually hear the electric motor, right? You can actually hear like if you
while
accelerate, it's not like a no, it's like wee. You can exactly you can actually hear it, and then it shows you like on the meter like this is how much energy it's generating. So when I got it, the full range of a full tank of gas with the electric fully charged was about 540 kilometers. And then I was driving,
wow.
driving, driving, driving. It went down to like 498 kilometers, right? The next
Mm-hmm.
day when I got in, that range had gone up to 510, 515 kilometers.
What?
Bro, right?
Wow.
I drove again. It went down to like 460 kilometers. Came back the next day, it was up to 498 kilometers. So yo, my guy, I was
That's
like, yo,
witchcraft, bro.
my guy, I was like, yo. So imagine having like a full electric car like a Tesla, bro. You probably need to charge it once or twice a month. And to get
Mm.
a full charge,
Especially if you're just going to work and back and forth and,
to get a
you know?
full charge in like 30-40 minutes, it costs you about maybe 20-25 bucks at most. Because I was looking at I wanted to buy the Ford Mustang Mach E, and right now
Mm-hmm.
they're still expensive. They're around 60,000, but like to get a full charge for that car, it's $11 Canadian.
What?
So if you put it to US, you're probably paying $8 or $9 to get a full charge, and that will give you hundreds
What?
of kilometers to travel, bro. And it's recharging itself every single day. So then that's when I started realizing I was
What?
like,
That's almost free, bro.
yo, that's when I was like, oh, different ball game. It's a completely different
You
world.
see?
Because to get a full tank of gas, you're paying maybe, I will honestly say, in a Ford F-150, you need to pay about 160, $170. Because those things can take anywhere
Wow.
from 100 to 120 liters. And that might last you maybe 2 weeks. You get what I'm saying?
And would you know that the difference between the F-150 and the F-150 Lightning?
That's another thing. The Lightning is another one. That's another one. Yeah.
You see?
And I see why they did that because honestly, if you're in the car world and you're looking at the competition, it's just a matter of time before
Mm-hmm.
everyone else moves to the other side. Because the car that I got is a Ford.
Hummer used to make those big 5, 6 liter trucks, right?
Mm-hmm,
But did you
mm-hmm.
see that electric Hummer?
Yo. And that car is nice. That car is crazy. Yeah.
And you see, one other thing about electric cars is you get that power the moment you put your foot down. You don't have to wait. There's no turbo lag. There's no build up like you. It's just
Right there.
and you're gone.
Instant.
Even if it's not a performance car, you get it there and then. Most of them have a 0 to 60 of like 4 5 seconds at most.
Yeah. So I get it. It's a great form of tech and innovation. It makes a lot of sense, because the efficiency is unmatched and the cost of living and your
Mm.
expenses just goes down. Mainly you're just worried about paying off, the debt or acquiring the asset. But just managing that asset now is close to nothing.
Like for free, you get to use it for free, and you just have to pay it off. And I mean, what more can you ask for?
What more
And
can
you're
you
having the
ask for?
time of your life while driving it.
Yeah. Okay. We'll go to the cyber truck because that's one I really wanted to talk about. Did we wait too long for this thing? Yes. Yes. Production took forever. But there's a few things that they came out with that were very interesting for me. Number one was the quality.
Uh-huh.
Of course, we seen that video where the guy threw that stone or whatever he threw and it smashed the window or whatever it was. They fixed that. So
Uh,
durability is number one. Number two, I like how they ended up fixing, putting whatever cable that they put to the steering wheel. And instead of turning 360 to get a full turn, it's now 180. So you only literally
and
just turn
it's
halfway.
and you notice how it says this.
Yo,
So if you're driving at low speeds, you don't have to turn a lot, and at
exactly.
higher speeds, it's less responsive.
Yes.
And when the car is off, you can turn the steering wheel, and the car doesn't. The wheels don't turn.
Real wheels, steering and turning as well.
Steer by wire.
Sharper
Yeah.
radius. So that was a big thing for me. And then the last thing, even though this one's debatable, but they said I think on the normal version you can get 300 and something
120,
miles.
320 miles.
Yeah, but if you add another battery or something for $15,000, you can go into the 400 miles. For me to explain to you how much
That's the dual motor.
400 miles, my guy. Listen, let me look this up. 400 miles to
That's more than
kilometers.
600 kilometers.
Bro, on a full charge. Bro,
That's like 660.
that is a lot. 643 kilometers. For me,
Let's put that into context for people in Zimbabwe. So Harare to Bulawayo is about 360.
yeah, yeah.
So you can almost go
You
to
can go
Bulawayo
there
and back.
and back on one charge. And don't forget that
And
when you're traveling, it's regenerating energy.
Mhm. and this means you can go Harare to Norton, which is like 40 k's. You can do that for like what 20 days.
That's a month, bro. That's a month, bro. Because you're regenerating energy day in, day out. So you honestly, realistically speaking, the range there, I think they definitely broke, some new thresholds. So as a
That's
whole,
I mean that's because that new battery. What's the biggest range of an electric car right now?
I gotta let's look that up. Let's give people the facts.
I think that helps for us to put this into context.
All right, we can look at top 20. Top 20 cars with the
Mhm.
longest range. Let's look at this right now.
But still, I mean, for that price, I think the price, even though it's more than people had bargained for, it's still a bargain. I think 100 grand for the most expensive one, given what you're getting,
So
it's a really good price.
this is my point here. The Lucid Air, the one that you mentioned, the 2023 Lucid
Mhm.
Air, is at 516 miles.
And that's a performance car,
That's a performance
a high
car.
end. performance car.
Yeah. So Cybertruck is in the 400s. Is it the best thing? No, but I feel like for a truck though that can do what it does with all the features that it's coming with, that is definitely, you can do anything with that thing.
I remember. I remember seeing how it has a better range than a Rivian. It has a
Yeah.
better range than a Hummer,
Yeah.
and it has better range than an F-150 Lightning, which are like the biggest competitors that it's going up against.
Yeah.
So I think it's got some good things going.
I was definitely impressed with it. Is there room for improvement? Of course, this is what Tesla does, right? They will just keep, I feel like by the time they give you that one product, they already have the next product ready. So
I mean, you're a truck person, right? And obviously, coming from Zimbabwe,
I'm more of an
everyone's a truck person if you can afford one.
I'm more of SUV now because I just bought an SUV. I'm more of SUV.
Okay, okay.
Maybe it's because my truck's
But okay,
econo.
you're coming back home. You're coming
Even
back home. You have to bring a truck. Would you bring the Cybertruck in
oh yeah,
Zimbabwe?
yeah, 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 for sure. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
No two thoughts about it.
No to. But the question now is, how am I going to charge that thing? Is now, but this is where we go back
You
to
can
our minister, all
pay
right?
for the house.
Yeah, this is where we. Madam, you know, how far do we have enough charging ports? Chi chi
I
chi.
mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. These are the things.
you see, with these electric cars, what we need to do is, I mean, look at Zimbabwe. I mean, the second name for Harare is Sunshine City, for Pete's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what that means? We have so much sunshine. And we need to imagine if the environment was a level and good environment for business. I mean, Tesla can afford, with all the solar panels, they can afford to put up like charging stations all over with solar power.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally unlimited power. But all these things can't happen if the environment is not friendly for business. So you see how everything keeps coming back to the environment?
Of course. The first form of technology is a fire.
Mm.
So when we talk tech, it's always going to
And I've
come
only
back to environment.
4 or 5 Teslas. I've only seen like 4 or 5 Teslas in Zimbabwe, and I can bet you those people. I mean, one of them is Tinashe Nash Mutaris. He's a millionaire.
Mm,
I mean, a middle class person can't get it because you need to charge it. You need all of those things. And with the way our power grid doesn't really work,
mm.
that means, see, so if they fix
Yeah.
that, we'd have more electric cars here.
I mean, they came out and they said, yo, we went to China, we got $1.3 billion, we're bringing back one day power station. And I think the efficiency of the power was working for a while. I don't know if it was the floods that happened that affected that or not. I'm not too sure. But yes,
And you see
electricity
how they
is.
keep trying to invest in all these thermal power stations. I mean, they need to do more. Like you remember, we got your Mariva Gateway. They need to invest more in solar, man.
But
I mean,
you know,
solar is mostly.
mfesi wacho ari kutenga maG-Wagon nema-Rolls Royce nemachichichi.
And he doesn't even try to buy electric cars. I mean, that I think a Cybertruck. I mean, we would have more
Yeah.
respect for him. I
Mm.
mean, that solar guy who was supposed to bring solar power buys an electric car. That makes sense.
If he
But
was,
no,
if he was,
6.7 liter.
if he was bringing in a Rolls Royce Spectre, I would have been like, "Yo, my guy, flex." But now you're going
I
to
think he
get a
bought one. Did
Phantom.
he not buy one?
Did he buy a Spectre?
I know he bought a Spectre and he just bought a new Brabus.
Ah, okay
I
then.
think, or I think he's in line to get one.
If he got a Spectre,
I
okay,
mean, he's
fine.
a big.
Because I'm pretty sure
Uh-huh.
I've seen he got a Phantom, and a Phantom is like, yo, that thing takes a lot
And
of
he has a
fuel,
Ghost.
and he has a Ghost.
And he
Yeah.
has and he has a Brabus that is called Brabus. And he has, I think, all his cars. I think the smallest engine is a 4 liter on all his cars.
That's the thing now. It's like a
Yeah.
one day ajo tori serious, my guy. Um,
It's
Last question. How would you say
mhm.
how is the business? How is the business in terms of matching tech, with business? Is it improving in terms of the use of tech? Like, before it used to be, and is it equal cash? Hey, what? Are we getting more Visa debit cards? Are we able to purchase more things online? How's the shipping? How is just the day-to-day business tech relationship going within Zimbabwe?
Well, there's definitely forward movement, but it seems like for every step that we take forward, we take two steps back.
As
Because I
always, as
mean,
always, yeah.
there are things- I mean, we can't use PayPal, which is one of the best platforms. We can't really do a lot of big transfers.
Yeah.
So as far as moving money around, especially if you're a supplier, it's very difficult to move money around. And you also can't move big amounts because the taxman is watching. And the way most of these businesses are doing it, they don't really compliance is a big issue. And most really don't comply to that extent. So because of that, doing business is still it's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, there's communication and all of that, and even like sourcing. You can communicate with the suppliers on a much better platform, and it's more immediate. But the moving of the money around, the deliveries, having to use agents, and all of that, it still makes it very, very, very tough. And so, because of that, a lot of people have sort of been like blocked off from business. So that means there are only a handful of suppliers who are bringing in big consignments. And then most of us people are then getting them from those big guys. So that means the margins for the small guys will be much, much slimmer. And these guys keep getting a bigger portion of the cake. You feel?
Mm, yeah.
Mm.
I mean,
So we can only hope it gets better.
there's a lot to discuss. I want to say thank you for your time. It's a good 1 hour. This is a new
Okay, man.
segment we're going to have in the
It's
podcast.
only been an hour. It's only been an hour. I know we're going to go day. What?
That was an hour, my guy. And this is a new
Okay,
segment.
okay,
We're going
okay.
to have TK is the guy who will be hosting that whole section. There's so much to bring up, but I don't want to overwhelm
Uh-huh.
the listener. There's a lot of keys and points to take away right now. We're gonna call the segment.
Give
Um,
them time to choose. Give them time to choose.
yes, we'll give you time to choose. The segment will be called Cottage Tech with TK. I'm gonna put every single link to his WhatsApp, business number, his Instagram. If you wanna go follow Cottage Tech, you can look it up. It's there. We'll have the link. If you have any questions, if you wanna look for any of the top 5 devices that were mentioned, again, you heard the prices. If you just wanna discuss tech and figure out something, you wanna start different businesses. Another thing that TK also does is he hosts a lot of tourists that come into Zimbabwe. If you want to come around and you want to see different places in
Uh-huh.
Zimbabwe, I'll let him speak on how that works, what the name of the business is. We'll include it in the link as well. You can reach him,
Uh-huh.
and I'll let you take over, bro. You can tell them all about that.
Okay, so we have something that's called Adventure Horizons. It's a small little company started in 2017. And the idea is to show off the beauty of Zimbabwe, but more particularly in Harare. Because you find most people when they come to Zimbabwe, Harare is just that place where they go there, they sleep over, then they fly to Vic Falls.
Mm-hmm.
But then they don't realize there's so much to do in Harare, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And what we do is we have a city tour where we take you around the city and you get to know the city of Harare, you know, the little corners, how people live, and all of that. And then we also have a tour that's called the Mbare tour. So Mbare, for those of you that don't know, is the biggest and oldest township in Harare.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I think it's a mix of, you can get anything and everything in Mbare. and it's the most culturally diverse and most densely populated part of Zimbabwe. And we give you a tour of that, and you get to experience that. You get to talk to the locals, see how they live, and get to see how the common Zimbabwean lives. And then besides that, we also have something that's called the Domboshava tour. They are the Domboshava caves, which is for those who like to go hiking. We also take them there and they get to experience, a bit of fresh air away from the city.
Mm-hmm.
And then for those that really like the nightlife, we have a nightlife tour where we take you around the city, take you around some of the hot spots in the city. If there are events, we're in touch with a lot of organizers, so they get us exclusive access, VIP access to all of those events. I think in the next 2 days or so, we have something that's called the Feel Fest, very big festival. So much cultural exchange, so much art to go around. So if you're ever in Harare and you want to see Harare, you want to feel Harare, you want to experience Harare, just get in touch with Adventure Horizons and I will give Swisher the pages. And then you can also check out our TripAdvisor page. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
TK, thank you so much, my G. Thank you so much. Appreciate you
Thanks.
so much. Last question.
Much love.
What?
Yes, Baba.
Okay, I'm gonna make it two questions. Album of the year and
Ah,
song of the year.
whew. Okay, okay. I mean, you really, you really hit me. I wasn't expecting this one because I'm not a music fan, but that I would have to say Drake. Drake has to take album of the year.
Which one though?
And
Her Loss
how many
or
albums is he have?
he had Her Loss and he had For All the Dogs.
Hmm. Nah, her loss. Her loss really did a number.
Okay, okay, I
I mean,
see.
that's when we all realized that it's her loss for real.
Mm.
I mean, Rich Plates, Broke Boys, No Ends. I mean, those are top tier songs.
Okay,
And
okay,
then
okay.
Song of the year is quite contentious because there's a lot of music that's been going around, but I would have to go with, let me see. I've been listening to a lot. So, uh, hmm, this is tough. I would have to say maybe first person shooter,
Okay,
Drake.
okay, okay, okay. That was a
And
really good
uh,
song, yeah.
and obviously you can't overlook songs like Flowers. I mean, everyone was listening to that.
Yeah, yeah, nah, that was a banger for sure. I
And maybe Water.
Ooh, okay, okay, yeah. Throw a baddie in there. Throw a baddie in there.
Throw a baddie. You always gotta throw a baddie, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, I remember seeing on Big Boy like, oh, Drake in my DMs. I knew he was gonna hit me up.
It's just a matter of time. What if I hit you with the same question, but I want you to put that in Zimbabwean context?
I was
So, what's
gonna
your album of the year?
I was gonna tell you right away. For me, album of the year. I don't care if it's Zim only, global. For me, prove them wrong. Baba Harare, my guy. Oh my God.
Tell him, bro. Tell him, bro. Tell him, bro. Tell him, bro.
Yo. I haven't heard an album that good. I would say probably since um I would say Jay-Z, Triple Four. That was the last album that,
Really?
yeah, I think it was around
Oh, that's
2019.
deep.
Yeah, it was around 2019 because I went to go see him on that tour. The amount of impact, the quality of the music, it wasn't like
That's
anything,
deep.
yeah, anything in there wasn't just like cringy for me. Usually I'll be like, okay, it's decent, but like I
I
didn't like
remember.
this. I didn't like that. Yeah, yeah, but like
I
I,
remember you liked 444 so much.
yo,
You actually bought the album, and I mean, to put it into context, people don't really buy albums these days. People just stream on whatever platform they have. But you actually bought that album.
bro,
Are you saying this is on that level?
it's on there. I bought Baba. I already proved them wrong. I bought it.
Wow,
I actually went into
that's
the
deep.
iTunes store and I actually bought the album. That's how good it was. I actually did
Okay,
that.
okay.
But the only difference is, this is something I might want to go talk to Zimbabwean artists. When I bought Triple Four, there was an option to get the CD still in 2019, signed by Jay Z, and that was $200, and I paid for that shit. That's how much I love that album.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, in that safe, the shit you put in your safe, it's in there.
You put that, but if you're in Zimbabwe, Zimra now has the right to open your safes. So you might want to be careful about that.
Oh
They can
man.
come take that album. Did you pay tax for this?
But
They'll
I
probably put $1,000 tax on that album.
I am willing to hit up Harare at some point and be like, yo, listen, if I need a printed CD, sign it for me. That's how much Prove Them Wrong was. It was that good to me. You know what I mean? Like, it was just banger, like
I mean,
from Ahe, Tsambaye Rufu, Prove Them Wrong, the whole entire
you
project.
know what?
I loved it.
You know what? I had a chance to sample the album a week before it came out. And you know how it is when you listen to an album for the first time.
Yeah.
This one hit me the first time. I mean, I could tell I was gonna be a banger.
Yeah.
I could hear Wrong was gonna be a banger.
Yeah.
But then the more I listened to it after it came out, I mean, it just hits you, bro. And this album talks about things that happen in everyday life. And I
Everyday
like
life.
how he's mixed this. You know how GT is stereotyped in Zimbabwe. Music is
Yo.
Nyanzi.
Yo.
Hey, them about, that's a wound. People shaking booty in a very African way, things like that. But he managed to fuse that GT
My
with
guy.
things that we experience every day. And he gives us values that we can follow every day. I mean, proves them wrong. Do you know how relatable to a lot of youth that song is?
My
I
guy.
mean, how many times have you been told? I mean, mental health,
Mm,
nepotism, hey, your uncle, hey, uncle, ndichi, ndichi. I mean, that's just wild, bro.
my guy.
That's just wild.
When that guy said yanga yarara usiku hwese ichichemedza mai zvairwadza ndiyo dzamba yerufu ndiyo dzamba I was like, yo,
That's touching, bro.
ndaramba
It touches
kufa
that
nebonde.
deepest, most sensitive part in you.
It spoke to my soul, my guy, because it was just like, yo. And then he had this crazy bar where he was like, aitengesa nyama dai akasaita munyama. I was like, yo. Babarare, Babarare. That's album of the year
And
for
then
me.
I won't beat it.
Nah, that album, that's a really, really, it's so underrated, but I think people will appreciate it more as time goes by. That's just what great music does. It ages well.
It's gonna be like wine. It's gonna mature.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Song of the year. Hmm.
And you can't include a song from the album of the year just to make it a bit more diverse.
Nah, I won't do that. Song of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Song of the year. You know what? This one came to me a little bit late. Someone had put me on. And then I started listening to it, listening to it, listening to it, and I was like, yo, this song. I can't get sick of it. I just keep playing it. Brian Jeck, Depression. My guy. Eee. That's a song.
Whoa, I haven't heard that.
I got you.
Is it Zim?
I got you. Listen, this is gonna be the outro song to the whole podcast. What a song, man. What a song. Brian Jake also talk kumziwa. You know Brian Jeck, my
I
guy.
know tech. I'm not into music that much.
My
I'm
guy.
behind.
My guy, what a song. Oh my god, I was so impressed. I think for me this year Zim music has been that thing. It's you know what? It's actually a debate. It's between Depression with Brian Jeck and K
Mhm.
Flow. Get it by force. That's another one. But I think Brian Jeck kind of beats him a little bit because he was talking about some real life stuff and it's very, very relatable. Like you can actually feel the music.
Mhm.
Judaro. But let me play it for you. And this will be the outro.
We branche con this kundiona kudai ndikufara zvefeki kundiona kudai ndine hondo nelife kukaharizi bo bati handina choice moyo mangu mune bundu makazara mascars ndakatochiwa nemchenje moyo wangu wakatobvaruka udosonwa mukati mangu mune zipimbu zibundu mukati mangu mune zipimbu zimountain mukati mangu ndakatorohwa nedepression mumoyo mangu hamuna peace mune confusion mupfungwa mangu ndine hope maquestions ndakatopera kosa ndisikuviya chidembwe we one day muchanzoti mukomana amukasiri bo one day muchanzoti mukomana akasiya kanoti kozi ndenge ndine hapwa sasiyate kufukura out kozi ndenge ndine magozi andechida kuti andiri wandozoudza moms vakandiudza kuti life iyi yakazara maels vakandiudza usatroste magunza nelos pandikaita nharo ndakatolenga funde mahos pandikatiwo ndaita kesh vakandichinjira magopost ndiri kuzama kumova on but mupfungwa ndingori stak ndirungopusha makomo but hana mavhiri ndirungoribata kecho munda mundiri 1 hanzokwanisa kuudza vangu vepedyo ndinotocha kuti ndakaudzawo ningi achaudzawo ningi ndobva ndasara ndiri chiseko zvakakosha bhushi rangu izvi cheka yo brother out unofunga varipo but pensheni wabira laiwa nemchenje moyo wangu wakatobvaruka udosonwa mukati mangu mune zipimbu zibundu mukati mangu mune zipimbu zimountain mukati mangu
My
Wow.
guy, my guy.
Wow.
That's a
Okay.
gem.
Okay.
That is a
I need to look
gem.
up this guy.
Yo,
I need to look up this guy. Wow.
mumoyo mangu mune zipimpu zibundu. Mukati mangu mune zipimpu zimountain. Yo, that's a
That deep
gem.
voice. That deep voice. It's a
Ah,
fire thing, bro. A fire
Zim
thing.
hip hop this year, Amborova. I hope they keep it
Like,
up. I hope they keep it up because you know what? It might
yeah.
be
I mean,
biased.
I think it's a good thing.
It might be biased
Uh-huh.
because I'm a Zim guy. That's where I come from. So that's the music I'm going to relate to the most. But I feel like finally, like you know how when we were in high school, it was the Drake, Meek, Wheezy. You know what I mean? Like me and you can
That
go,
R&B hip hop,
yo, me and you can pull up no
that
ceilings and
those colorful dates,
yo, Carter 4. That's what I feel like we're in that era for the Zim
dreams
hip
and
hop.
nightmares.
Dreams and nightmares. Ready or not.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? That's I feel like Zim hip hop is giving us those influential songs that I can take for the rest of my life. So it's been.
I feel like this year has been quite big in
Yeah.
terms of Zim hip hop, and I think it's really hit that maturity point where it's like you remember the days Anna MC the days
MC.
Anna
Yeah. What was his name? MC Shauna
those
Boy or something. There was a lot of MCs.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
MC Shona Boy and
Yeah.
what's his name? Those guys from way back. I feel like it's come full circle
Full
where it's
circle.
like at
Yeah.
that point because I mean this year we have so many people coming onto the scene like mainstream. I mean
Mm.
look at Baga, look at Saint Flo. I mean Holy Tin been putting in work.
Mm.
Michael Mags, all these guys putting in work, and it's just been it's actually being competitive for the first time, you know.
Oh yeah. I like Holy 10. I think Delilah was the first song I was like, okay, because for me, I like people who actually say something in a song. Delilah was like, I was like, okay, he's actually
Mhm.
speaking, he's actually talking. Of course, the previous songs were good hits, all
And
this
there's a
and that.
message to it.
There's a message to it. So I was like,
Mhm.
now I see why the potential people see in him. The first track with me for with Volts was My Streets when he dropped
Mhm.
that one was really good. My streets are pizza about nothing. I was like, yo. I was like, ah, okay, votes, I see
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, I see you. K Flow,
And you
enough.
know another song that hit me the right way this year?
Which one?
Did you hear Bagas Nyarara?
Yeah, my homie who just pulled up, I was picking him up from the airport and he played me Baga. I was like, who's this Baga guy? And he played that Nyarara song and I was like,
That's a banger.
oh, yo, that's a banger. Baga's definitely doing well.
Look for that guy, listen to him, and you
Baga's,
will
yeah.
not be disappointed.
Baga we raga.
Baga,
Yeah.
Virag.
He's doing
And
very
there's
well.
also Giver. I think Giver was another song.
Gevo was actually
And
the
he just
first one I heard.
recently
That was the first one I heard.
just put out a remix with all these big everyone who's big in hip hop was there. And this remix is just it's banging dog.
I'm gonna
You need
listen
to
to that.
listen to it.
And then there's, of course, there's
Mm-hmm.
my fancy boys like what's his name, Denim Woods. I like Denim Woods. He had that song, not Juga, the one he just
Mm-hmm.
put out, but the other one. Time, Bibrako really something. That song was really good. Um,
Is it?
yeah. You never heard it?
No,
I'm
no, no. I only heard the first Juga.
I'm a. All right, fine. Yo, now I'm putting you
Wait, wait,
on.
wait,
Now I'm putting you on.
wait a minute. Wait.
Yeah.
Are we on Spotify?
Um. Listen. Okay. I'm gonna send it to you. I'm gonna send it to you. The name of the song is Feeler.
Okay.
Yeah, Feeler.
Because you know how Spotify is with playing songs, the copyrights and all that, right?
Actually, when I upload it to YouTube, if I play someone's song, they get a certain percentage for the views that we generate. But I know the guy who manages Brian
Okay.
Jeck. I know the guy who manages Brian Jeck. So like, yeah, it's all cool.
Okay.
It's all cool. Like they'll clear it and all that. It's not a problem. When I did that playing Alpha Centauri's music on the last episode, his manager used to manage me, so I'm cool with him. I don't know
Okay.
Denim Woods like that,
Okay. So
but I don't mind reaching out and talking to them and be like, yo, look, if you want to get more people to listen, I'm doing you a favor. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, business is
I think
business.
especially what I read like on the policy is you can't play more than is it more than half a minute? And then also you then need to include it in the show notes. So if we do that, I think we should be cool.
I got no problem with that. I got no problem with all that. At the end of the day, it's just about talking to the right people. That it's not a big deal.
Exactly.
Sometimes people, how it works now is just like we did a 1 hour podcast. I played your song, the entire song for 3 4 minutes. You're trying to take the entire podcast and its earnings. Okay, now hold up. You know what I mean? It's
Hold
very,
up.
yeah, it's very
Yeah.
easy for me to change that and switch it up. But I don't think we're in that kind of space with Zim artists where they wouldn't understand, you know what I'm saying? Me bringing light to something. But
And I
anyway,
think actually, wait, that's actually a topic that we'd have to talk about one of these episodes, like music rights and how artists go around that. I mean, we should put that down.
episode 2, y'all heard it. Episode 2, you know what I mean, of Cottage Tech with TK. If
Yeah.
Yeah, if y'all want to learn about how it works about building your YouTube page, how you run copyrights and how you get ownership and how you can get reach of all these different labels, how they generate money, how it works, come in tune. I think
Mhm.
right now, do we have a specific timeline of how it's going to work? No, but what I can tell you is it will be dropping every second week comfortably. It depends on TK's schedule, depends on my schedule, but I think we can make it work every single second week. It's not a problem.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's not a problem.
Definitely, definitely.
If not, for sure you will get an episode every single month. This is just a trial run and entry to TK. You know, y'all get to know him.
Guaranteed once a month, like a salary. Then you know we are doing.
Yeah, y'all get to know my GTK, you know what I mean? Reach out to him, talk to him, you know, show some love, like, subscribe, blah blah blah, the whole thing. We appreciate you. My G, once again, thank you so much, man. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Show love, dog.